What is going on, everybody? We're here. We're live for Sports Wars Sunday. We're a little late because we were trying to get the video of old Antonio Brown getting into a little scuffle. Always seems to be something with Antonio Brown. In fairness, he did get jumped.
Yes.
But it does always seem to be something with our man. I mean, I remember was it 2 or 3 years ago, the chaos surrounding him walking off the field during the Bucks game and everything, against the Jets. So always something with Antonio Brown. Never a lack of entertaining stories surrounding AB for some reason.
Yeah, and what was it? I can't remember if it was before the Bucks. Do you remember he had a whole bunch of cops go to his home? He's protecting his kids. He's like, kids, don't go outside. He had 15 cops outside of his home, and I don't even remember what that was for, too.
And he was
getting a whole bunch of trouble.
At one point, he was throwing shit at somebody who was there to move furniture. There's some pretty wild shit out there in AB's history. Between multiple different, women involved, charges of some sort. You never quite know with old Antonio Brown. But it looks like he did fire some shots in the air after he got jumped in order to kind of clear the area and clear the chaos. But yes, we'll talk about that shit a little bit. It's kind of wild. But welcome to Sports Wars Sunday. Sixer Iverson for $2 for Jared Shaw. Where's BLM and etc. for him? I don't know. Sixer Iverson. BLM gets their marching orders depending on what they think they can capitalize. Like when, I don't know, a young thug stabs a white dude in the heart at a track meet in high school. Stuff like that. Doug May for $5. Angel Reese is such a trash player, throws up bricks just to pad her offensive rebound stats. It was glorious yesterday to witness this rivalry that technically is when you just look at media and when you look at the stuff, but in terms of on the floor, it's really not. It was glorious to see in the season opener, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever not only absolutely obliterate Angel Reese, but also her have a fucking meltdown and freak out in the process. Just absolutely perfect. So we'll go over that today. Chris Curran, Ryan, did you get Angel for your WNBA fantasy team? No, I don't have a WNBA fantasy team. However, if you're interested in that, whether you think she's going to, the one thing I would look to Angel Reese for, she's going to get some rebounds because she's going to miss a million of her own shots and get those rebounds. So you can go and take a look at those on Prize Picks. No doubt about that. That's always something you can go do. And we'll talk about Prize Picks a little bit more later on. Dom H with 10 gifted memberships.
Hell yeah, Dom.
10 of them.
Nice. Shout
out to Dom. Dom and his Yankees profile picture, his little Aaron Judge profile picture. Hey, my Cubs are having a good weekend. We had a little bit of this is a rest weekend. Some would call it rivalry weekend or whatever they're doing in the MLB, but we're playing the White Sox. So that's basically just a bunch of time off for the Cubs. Time for them to pad their stats. Time for Pete Crow Armstrong to continue being one of the most productive center fielders in the game. And for them to just have a nice, relaxing, easy weekend. I've seen so many, I don't know why, but my Twitter feed was full of a lot of Cubs stuff, but from Sox people. From White Sox social media accounts and from White Sox fans that are just bitching and complaining. And they're like, I'm trying to get to Wrigley. Why is everyone walking so slow? Does everyone in Wrigleyville walk so slow? And it's like, well, guess what? When you don't need to sprint from your fucking car or the train to get into the stadium because you're afraid of getting shot because you're actually in a safe neighborhood, you can kind of take your time and enjoy the place. You can enjoy the scenes. You can embrace and just take in all of what Wrigleyville has to offer. It's fucking Sox fans that are talking shit and then just go out there and get absolutely obliterated. I love it. I don't know what brought that up, but Mick Walsh for €2. When will we see Angel Reese do a porno? A couple of years, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if Angel Reese does an OnlyFans or something like that at some point in time. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either.
I'll be honest. Dom H. How about them Knicks? New York Knicks back in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a little bit of a throwback Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks Pacers. Knicks Pacers Eastern Conference Finals. And we're going to see who's in the Western Conference Finals for the in the NBA a little bit later today. And around 3:30 Eastern, I think, is Nuggets and Thunder Game 7. The two MVP candidates, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic, who's going to come out on top. That's been a great series. A little bit of an injury concern for Aaron Gordon, strained his hamstring in Game 6. But they're going to go on to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it's an interesting NBA playoffs. Unfortunately, you've had a lot of injuries, which is like the disappointing part. From Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles to Donovan Mitchell, being a little bit hit or miss, dealing with an ankle issue in that Cavs series, along with multiple other players from the Cavs not being able to go at parts in these playoffs. Damian Lillard not being able to go early, then coming back and immediately tearing his Achilles. That is the one thing you go back and you look at. You're like, man, it does suck that so many of these series have ended up partially being about that. But the Knicks, even when Jason Tatum was healthy and on the floor, they beat him a handful of times in Boston with a healthy Jason Tatum. But certainly, I think the series at least probably goes to Game 7 if Jason Tatum stays healthy. That shit's sad, man. There has been an increase in these Achilles injuries in the NBA.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. And, sometimes when you have these big high profile players, it seems like it's happening all the time, right? Because you might not hear if the 10th guy in the rotation who gets 5 minutes a game tears his Achilles. It might not be a huge story. But when it's dudes over the course of the last several years with Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Jason Tatum, it feels like there's been an uptick. And I think the numbers do go to show there has been an uptick when you look at just the hard line numbers. Yeah. But it's worrisome, man. I mean, you're out for a year and you're probably never going to be the same again.
Well, then even in the NFL too, you can look at Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson. Like there's been a lot of ruptured Achilles just across sports. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I have no fucking idea what's behind that, if it's the way guys are training now or whatever. No fucking idea, but it's hard to deny that it is out there and it seems to be occurring more often than we're used to seeing it, which just sucks.
The one thing about the Knicks moving on is I'm glad that old boy Portnoy was crying himself to sleep on Twitter.
Oh, dude,
I used to be such a Portnoy fan, and that dude has just rubbed me the wrong way for the past several months.
Honestly, I still am a Dave Portnoy fan because even when he says retarded shit that I hate, he's never gonna he never
backs down.
Yeah, he never fucking backs down. Same thing when Tom Brady left and Mac Jones came in. He was the biggest fucking Mac Jones because that's his teams. You know what I mean? We all do this with our teams. He's like, yeah, Mac Jones, the best fucking quarterback out there. No one's better than him. We got to steal. Brady, you're fucking old. Go down to Tampa. Thanks for all the memories, Tom. We got Mac fucking Jones now. That's just how he is.
And he did the Patriots schedule release. And he went through it and he had the Patriots going undefeated.
Exactly. Yeah. So like you know what you're getting with that shit. So I at least appreciate that. Trucker Mark, Angel Reese is the biggest baby in the WNBA and the biggest flopper. And then Trucker Mark with 5 gifted Sports Wars memberships. Thank you, Trucker Mark. Appreciate it. Hendon Hooker Stan. I didn't know there were too many stands out there for Hendon Hooker. If the Knicks win the championship, New York will make Eagles fans look like choir boys. I mean, it's been a long-ass time since we saw the Knicks in an Eastern Conference Finals.
2000.
It's been a long-ass time. And I personally, I like the fact that we're getting some fresh blood in terms of that. Like the fact that this Pacers team, this Knicks team, you already have the Timberwolves again in the Western Conference, and then maybe Nuggets get back there. Obviously, have won a championship recently. Jokic, multiple MVPs, but you got a chance the Thunder make it there against them too. So it'll be interesting to see. But we should talk about WNBA season kicking off. Now, famously, I don't think too many people in general, not just here on this channel, I don't think too many people cared too much about the WNBA, basically for its entire history. But that changed with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is one of those athletes in kind of any sport that transcends something and people start to pay attention to just because of the way they play the game, the stories that surround it, stuff like that. Well, after everything we heard with the WNBA last season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, and the massive surge in ratings and attendance and people caring about the sport, WNBA did something that was probably pretty smart when in terms of schedule. They scheduled for the Indiana Fever's home opener the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese, this rivalry that's been going on, at least in the media, even if it's not actually on the floor. So people are interested. Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky got absolutely fucking dominated last night. Well, yesterday, I should say, by Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark had a triple-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. And even to put the icing on the cake, not only did Angel Reese get absolutely fucking destroyed, 5 for 14 from the field, by the way, pretty consistent with her normal type of performance, but also she had a meltdown after the Fever started pulling away from it, and Caitlin Clark was playing fantastic. You crazy as fuck. Angel Reese rages at Caitlin Clark after hard foul. And to set all this up, you could even see some funny things happening early in the game between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And let's not get it twisted. Angel Reese despises Caitlin Clark. She's jealous of her. She's jealous of the attention. They tried to make this into a massive racial thing, despite the fact that Caitlin Clark has a ton of black teammates that absolutely love her, tons of black Indiana Fever fans. They decided to try to make it about race. And, Caitlin Clark hits a buzzer beater early in the game before the end of a quarter. And you could see somebody was paying very close attention on the Chicago Sky bench. And that, of course, if we go over when they zoom in, you can see Angel Reese not very happy that Caitlin Clark hits a clutch buzzer beater. Angel Reese probably also not happy after her patented multiple missed layups and offensive rebounds that Caitlin Clark snatched the ball from her like this.
So Reese spinning, couldn't pop it in. The O board, no. Another chance stripped away by Clark.
So a little bit of frustration at play. And that's when this happens. Now, they cut off the clip where Angel Reese shoves the defender. Should have probably been a foul on Angel Reese to actually get this rebound. But as she's about to go wide open the hole, Caitlin Clark, smaller player, does what any small guards are taught to do in this situation. Hey, foul, trap arms, don't let her get the shot off, send her to the free throw line where she's probably going to miss at least one of them. And that's when she got a little upset.
Strong on a three. And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark. Afterwards has something to say.
Now, did you see this clip going around, Beardo?
I did, yes.
This got upgraded to a flagrant, by the way.
Yep.
For no fucking reason. This is not a flagrant foul. This is a normal hard foul to prevent someone from shooting. But you can see Angel Reese tries to make it all about her, tries to make it into something. Oh my God, I can't believe she'd do something like that.
He's increased eyeballs, energy, and attention around the matchups between Reese and Clark, and Angel Reese.
Yeah, like she's going to do anything. Go sit back down,
crazy
dude.
As fuck. You crazy as fuck for doing this. And we're going to see this right here.
Is still going after Caitlin Clark in the aftermath.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was
like it's a foul, and it's a good normal hard foul, right?
Not enough for her to flop on the ground like that.
Yeah, like what are we talking about? That's exactly like in this situation, because she pushed the defender out of position. You're not going to, even though the chances of Angel Reese making a wide open layup are probably still pretty small, you send her to the line. You take a hard foul. Don't let her get the shot up.
In the aftermath.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was coming. As soon as you saw Angel Reese wide open, you knew that Caitlin.
That's
Dude, it's the throwing the arms up and falling down on the ground for me. That is ridiculous. They should have called a flagrant on Angel Reese just for being a fucking bitch.
Yeah, and so it's so ridiculous. And this becomes a massive fucking thing. Caitlin Clark gets interviewed after the quarter ends, and she basically is like, obviously there's nothing there. Every basketball player knows that's a normal fucking foul.
Walk me through your perspective on the flagrant foul. What was the point you were trying to make to her?
It's just a good take foul, you know. If either Angel gets wide open 2 points, or we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a good take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
Walk me through.
It's great answer.
Yeah, they talked about it in the post game, and she like jumped on the question. She's like, let's not try to make this more than this is. There was nothing that flagrant about it. I don't know why they would upgrade it. There's nothing wrong with it. And she didn't go after her head. It was a normal ass foul when you're trying to prevent a bigger player from getting a wide open layup. It happens all the fucking time. Whereas these are the types of fouls that Caitlin Clark was getting last year, even from Angel Reese's teammates, which she then celebrated. So dead ball, right? Not a normal basketball move, coming up and saying bitch, and then checking her.
Which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter.
So that's the type of shit the Chicago Sky and a lot of people in the WNBA were doing all last year because they're jealous of Caitlin Clark. Yet a normal ass foul, that for some reason is just, that's beyond the pale. And it's all because Angel Reese is fucking pissed. They're getting destroyed. She's getting embarrassed once again. And of course, you got race baiters. You got a bunch of angry fucking black people out there that are trying to actually make this into something that it's not. But the truth is, this fucking rivalry is very one-sided, like literally one-sided, because Caitlin Clark is a much better basketball player. The Indiana Fever are a much better team. And Angel Reese is the one who's fucking jealous and despises Caitlin Clark with all of her being. And so just a perfect way to start off the NBA season. I love it.
Envy, man.
Yeah.
She's very envious of Caitlin Clark. That's for sure.
Yeah. Thug, fake victim, Angel Reese, once again getting pissy because she got her fucking ass kicked. Triple-double by Caitlin Clark. 20, 10, and 10, by the way.
And at that one point, in the one clip that you pulled up, the score was like 50-40 in the third quarter. You take a look at the final score. Halfway through the third quarter with all of the fourth, the Fever put up 40 points where the Sky put up 10.
Yeah. Basically, because that game was still technically kind of within reach around this time. Right? Because they're up by 12 with about half of the third quarter still left to go. That's when Caitlin makes the defensive play, strips the ball from Angel Reese as she going up for her third layup attempt that she probably would have missed as well. And then 2 more trips down the floor, and that's when Angel Reese loses her shit. And the team fell apart after that. Fell apart. I love it.
You love to see it.
You love to fucking see it. All right, where are we? Dom H for 5. You guys think the Rockies will win more than 60 games? Wow, they're brutal.
No.
I don't know if the Rockies will win 30 games. Like, genuinely. How many wins did the White Sox have last year?
I know that the Rockies are on pace to have a worse season this year than the White Sox did.
Yeah. White Sox, they can't have won too many more than 30 games. They went 41. So there's no chance in hell that Colorado wins. They are fucking awful.
Yes.
Like they are truly historically bad. But I don't know. How your Angels doing?
I checked out. Even though we did beat the Dodgers.
Where did Angels at? What do you mean you checked out?
Dude, Mike Trout's injured again. We started off the season hot, but no, we're at the very bottom of the AL West, and we're playing the Dodgers right now. I believe Kershaw pitched last night. I don't know the results from last night's game, but I know we beat the Dodgers 2 nights ago. Let me see. Last night, yeah, we won again last night too, 11-9.
Okay, you gave up on them.
I did. Listen, they're 19-25. We're not making the playoffs. Season's over. Chalk it up.
That's rough.
I know.
My Cubbies still on top of the NL Central. As I've said every week and will continue to express, I have concerns about their pitching throughout this season. They also do need to find a solution at third base because everything they've done has not worked as of yet. But I am concerned about their pitching, especially losing Justin Steele early this year. That really put a big damper on their rotation in general. But they can score with anybody. They can score with anybody right now. Let's see. In terms of, I do think they're still, the Cubs are leading the league in runs scored. No, not quite. Dodgers have scored 4 more runs than them this year. But yeah, in terms of run differential, they're really solid, obviously. We'll see if they can keep it up. I hope so. Alex McCarthy for 2. Meta PC, enter code RK Outpost or Beardo. Do it.
Thank you, Alex McCarthy.
Shout out to our man, Alex.
Yep.
Waffles and cocaine for $1.99. Black women have gave her harder fouls. Shaking my head. Yeah, like there's nothing. The fact that it got occurred to a flagrant is bullshit. That's not a flagrant foul. There was nothing excessive. There was nothing that wasn't a normal basketball play. There was nothing that was, going to the head or neck area. It's retarded. I think that they likely just did it, and then they gave out a couple texts to Alea Boston and to Angel Reese, and the aftermath of that, just to probably settle things down a little, potentially. But I think it's a bad call to upgrade that. Vermithor for $2. Hail, boys. Can't wait for football season with you.
Hell yeah.
It's around the corner, man. And Brock Purdy probably feeling a little bit better about what's going to happen when it comes to this season for him, because there were a lot of negotiations surrounding this 49ers team between Brock Purdy, their quarterback, the guy they want to be their quarterback of the future. But the question was, how much can you pay him? A guy that they had on a discount his first couple years in the league. Mr. Irrelevant. Well, now Mr. Irrelevant is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL because Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers agreed to a big deal, a 5-year, $265 million contract extension with the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it's hard to say that Brock Purdy hasn't earned some money. You know what I mean? He has. The way he's played since he's been there, he earned some fucking money. But the question is, with the way the team's built, with the guys that they have to pay now, with all these things that happen, you go from having him on a budget, basically making less than $1 million a year for Brock Purdy, which is unheard of for the quarterback position. So now you're paying him 50 times that. I think the average is about $53 million on a per year deal. That's what this is going to come out to an average to for Brock Purdy, which makes him the 7th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And I think Brock Purdy has played extremely well and he's earned his money. But as we see so often, sometimes after these quarterbacks get paid, you can't afford to put some of the pieces around them that made the team the way it was. So what's your take on this deal for Brock Purdy?
First of all, congratulations to Brock Purdy. He clearly deserved it, but the 49ers this past offseason, they let go of a lot of their tools. Their defense is going to look vastly different. I mean, they still have Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. That's fine. But they lost Deebo Samuel. Who knows what Brandon Ayuk's doing? He had a very gruesome knee injury. There's always rumors about him being on the move, although they did sign him to a contract right before he did tear his entire knee apart last year. I don't think the 49ers are going to be all that good. George Kittle had a drop off last year. George Kittle dropped off a freaking mountain last year. So I don't know what's going on with that. But we'll see. Without Deebo, there's going to be a lot more pressure on George Kittle. We'll see if Christian McCaffrey can make a comeback, or who knows? Is he going to suffer another injury, a secret injury that we don't know about up until, the opening moments of week 1? I don't think this 49ers team is going to be very good this year.
when you go back and look at last season, I think it was incredibly unfortunate in general for the 49ers. Not only you have Ayuk holding out, and then as soon as he basically comes in, signs the contract, boom, blows that fucking knee out. Deebo Samuel decided to like gain 20 pounds and also play like shit. Christian McCaffrey suddenly has injuries to like both his calf, both his Achilles. So he was limited. You had personal things for their left tackle that like I think they had a child pass away. You know what I mean? Like
Correct.
Some like it was just hit after hit after hit after hit to all these, you know, great players on this team.
And then also in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, who was it? One of their linebackers, great linebacker, Greenlaw. He ruptured his Achilles on the sideline. It was after a special teams play. Defense was going out. He goes out to run out, non-contact Achilles rupture for Greenlaw. He was out all of last year. So I don't think that the 49ers are going to be all that good this year. And Kyle Shanahan, I've been saying this for forever about Kyle Shanahan. He's 0-3 in Super Bowls, going back to Atlanta and his time with San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan is his own worst enemy. He overthinks himself into death, is what he does. Yeah, and Ricky Pearsall got shot. Yeah, that's right.
He didn't even bring up Ricky Pearsall getting shot. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where a guy like Brock Purdy, who was not expected to do anything, comes out and proves it and plays very well. Granted, you do just have to say it, right? Brock Purdy, you did see these weapons around him. So people are always going to question, well, how much of this is the system that Kyle Shanahan brings that we've seen a lot of quarterbacks flourish in? How much of it is the player surrounding, like blah, blah, blah. With that being said, he certainly, by playing on the contract that he signed, he earned a payday.
Right.
But as we've seen with so many teams, when you decide to do it, to give your quarterback that money, $53 million per year. And obviously it's not going to be the same every year. They've got different structures throughout each year. But when you're talking about that much money committed to one player, you have to make some decisions. So you had to let some veterans that would have cost you money to re-sign them on that defensive side of the ball go. And you bring in young guys and you hope those draft picks pay off. You hope those signings pay off. But what I will say is that now you go from Brock Purdy, the great story, the 7th round draft pick, the dude who, wow, it's so awesome that he's like overcome all this. Now you go to, you're the fucking guy, period. And all the pressure is on you for that. Because forget about all that shit about we're so happy to be having this type of play from a quarterback, 7th rounder, how impressive it is, how he's developed. Now there's a lot of expectations and pressure on you because of this money. So I think Brock Purdy has earned a lot of fucking money with the way he's played there. Now he's got to show that he's earning this payday, and it doesn't matter who they put around him. He can do it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I do have a theory about all these recent Achilles injuries in sports, and I want to get your take on it. Obviously, a lot of these guys are on performance enhancing drugs. A lot of them, and a lot of them are ahead of the game. Even if they're getting tested, they're taking compounds that they don't have tests for yet. When you're running a cycle as an athlete, you're building up your muscle density, and also your joints and ligaments and tendons, they are growing stronger too while you're on. But when you have to hop off, you still have that retained muscle growth. But your joints and tendons are going to go back to normal, and they might not be able to support the explosiveness of that muscle growth to where, you see a lot of these Achilles injuries. What do you think?
I mean, it's possible. When you look at, I think certainly, especially in the NFL, I think there's no doubt that type of shit goes on.
100%.
There's no doubt that type of shit in the NFL goes on. When it comes to the NBA, and when you look at the build and frame of some of these guys, and look, people that are on performance enhancing drugs, they're not always looking like the way you would expect them to. They're not always packed with fucking muscle, right? There's
a lot of it's for endurance.
A lot of it's for endurance.
Explosiveness.
Exactly. I mean, you look at track athletes. Track athletes historically, famously. I mean, the entire fucking What was the guy who with Barry Bonds that got Balco?
Okay.
Like the guy behind Balco, right? He didn't start off with like baseball players or whatever. They were doing track athletes. They were doing shit like that. Marion Jones, right? The sprinter Marion Jones from the early 2000s was on performance enhancing drugs. She was doing the clear, like whatever that shit was back in the time. So you never can be quite sure, but it's tough for me to imagine that some of the, like Kevin Durant, right?
Right.
It's like, I don't fucking know. Like, do we really think Kevin Durant's Achilles injury is a result of him being on and off cycle for some performance enhancing drugs while trying to build the muscle? I don't think so when you look at him and the way he's built. But you never know.
His frame doesn't scream, I'm on testosterone or any kind of other compounds. But like LeBron James, for instance, like, or even Jason Tatum, I think those guys are running it. I think
Jason Tatum, really?
Look at his shoulders, man. Look at that shoulder density. Like I think he's on it. And I also know that old boy from Milwaukee, what's his name?
Giannis
is running it. He is a addict. He's a junkie for sure.
Yeah, the thing, I don't know, man. Like, because we're not talking about I agree with you in terms of how big some of these guys are in their upper, how much definition I suppose they do have, even if they're not bulked out. Like Giannis is slim, he's defined and he's strong, but his frame is very slim. Jason Tatum fairly slim as well, and that's just a basketball build for those guys. But I don't know. I would believe 1,000% that LeBron James has been on performance enhancing drugs, and that maybe a lot of guys are in general.
Dwight Howard back in the day, 100% on steroids. When he was with Orlando, definitely.
So you just think everybody's on steroids, period?
I think a lot of those guys to compete, it's look at steroid era of baseball. You got Jose Canseco, who introduced it to a lot of his buddies down there in Oakland. When people are doing it, you have to come to one or two conclusions. Either refuse and be left behind, or you got to jump on it and be able to compete at the same level with the guys who are doing it. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying it's right, but that's the harsh reality. And I think, and that goes across all major sports. When you got guys who are juicing and they're having themselves a hell of a year. I know for a fact that Saquon Barkley was juicing at Penn State. That motherfucker had bad gyno going into the NFL Combine. He had bitch tits going into the Combine. And I'm sure when a lot of these guys, when they tear their ACL, like just look at Ray Lewis, for example. Ray Lewis, when the Ravens won their last Super Bowl in 2013 and he tore his tricep, and he missed most of the regular season. And then he comes back and plays in the playoffs and plays in the Super Bowl. Remember, he blamed it on deer antler velvet?
Yeah.
No way, dude. That dude was taking growth hormone. Okay? He was taking growth hormone and used deer antler velvet as an excuse because it's legal. You know, that's the excuse. You can look at Rodgers too. When Rodgers has gotten injured and then had a stellar comeback, and not for his Achilles, but his time with Green Bay.
Collarbone one, is that one?
I think it was his leg. He did something. Maybe it was his knee or his hamstring. I think when he was in Green Bay, and then he, they all do it, man. I think they across all major sports they all do it because they have to keep up because there's so many other people who are doing it.
But that's then my question, right? I don't think that there's been like an increase in PED usage in the NFL and the NBA over the past 5 years. That's like an outlier from what we saw in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Do you know what I mean? So like for that to be the explanation for why the Achilles tears are happening, that would have to be, well, there's an increase in the amount of people that are using. And I just don't see that being the case. Not to say that nobody is. There probably are a lot. But is there such a market increase in that's why we're seeing these things? That doesn't make any sense to me. You know?
You never know. I think there could be. Because these guys have the best doctors out there who can be prescribing them shit that they don't even have tests for. So they don't have to worry about popping a drug test.
But that's how it's always been. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for these tests, that's what the whole Balco thing was. That's why they were like in with all these fucking athletes, because they had something that would not appear on the tests. Now they would schedule out these cycles where they did have things that were people would test positive for, but they structured the like when they would take it and how much they would take to make sure they weren't on that when the test came along, but they were still on the clear and the cream, the two things they had that could not pop up on those tests during that time in between. So we've always had these advancements, but I don't know.
It was just, just a thought. I wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like nobody's on. There's clearly a lot. People are always going to find ways around the rules. People are always going to take things. People are always going to take things to keep them at their peak for longer. Like that's something that has happened since the beginning of time in sports, cheating, and it will happen till the end of sports. I just don't know if like, because you would need an increase in that to have a like to try to say that that's the corresponding reason for the increase in injuries. And I just don't know if we've had an increase in that shit. Like, I just think people have always been using. But I don't fucking know. But I don't know. Beardo, have you ever been on performance enhancing drugs?
What do you think?
You seem to know a lot about it.
I've done a lot of research. I used to, do a lot of bodybuilding back in my younger 20s. So I've watched plenty of YouTube videos and read blogs on it and stuff. It's a very interesting topic, so I've done my research.
Yeah. But like guys like Saquon, and you're talking about how he looked coming into the fucking draft process and everything. Another thing I guess to consider is like the draft process is so fucking weird because they care so much about the numbers here and the numbers there. You'll see guys that completely try to change their bodies in a couple months just for the NFL draft combine.
Yep.
Like they'll either drop weight or add weight, like whatever they're trying to do to build up whatever they think is important for them to hit. And they're willing to like maybe sacrifice a little strength here to do better in the shuttle, to do better in the 40, to do like all that shit. So I don't know.
There's some clear indicators. There's some clear indicators to see if somebody is very androgenic, and it's usually in the shoulders. When you see shoulder separation, you can see the separation in the muscle groups in between the pecs to the shoulders to the biceps and triceps. Usually when there's some clear separation in the muscle groups and you get those spider veins going through the shoulders and stuff. I'm not saying that's for everybody, because some people are just going to be naturally, genetically gifted like that. But for the most part, that's a very clear indicator is looking at the shoulders and the separation between the muscle groups, and also bitch tits like Saquon had at the combine.
And it's kind of tough because like you are dealing like people like Giannis Antetokounmpo, like you are dealing with the genetic freaks of genetic freaks, like to start with.
But look at Giannis when he first came into the league, and then when they won the championship. Look at the shoulders, dude. It's
for sure
obvious.
But especially like when guys are coming in at 19 years old versus, and then we see that with almost every young player that comes into the NBA. Like when they come in at 18 or 19 years old, they're undersized. They haven't built that muscle. They haven't done that. Giannis does look like a freak now, especially those shoulders. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like Kevin Durant, man, do you remember Kevin Durant's NBA combine where he like couldn't bench 135?
Man, that was so long. That was 20 years ago.
Let's see if I can find this. Kevin Durant NBA combine bench press. They do 185, not 135.
I believe the NFL is 225.
225 for the NFL, yeah.
Yeah.
So at the 2011 NBA Draft Combine, Kevin Durant failed to bench press 185 pounds even once. He was the only prospect who struggled to lift that weight. But you look at his build, and that is like...
He's a lanky motherfucker.
He was skinny as shit. But yeah.
Still is.
It still is, obvious, but in those first couple of years, he did fill out. Which you kind of expect those guys to when they're that young when they come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, Turns out, it doesn't matter if you can bench 185 or not. If you can take somebody off the dribble and hit a three, you can still be successful in the NBA. All right. Where am I? Angel Reese is more worried about going to the Met Gala than getting ready for the new season. Maybe the case, Mike Hill. May be the case. Thunderstrike. Ryan, it's about time to stand with your Hoosier brothers and back the Pacers against the Knicks. I'll root. Look, Tyrese Haliburton and the Indiana Pacers, fun team to fucking watch. I don't really have a dog in the fight necessarily because I'm not a Pacers fan. I'm a Bulls fan. But I have plenty of reason to root against the Knicks and the Pacers. But I'm hoping for a good series. Jalen Brunson, I hope he doesn't get to the foul line 15 times a game, but we'll see. See what happens. Jason Platten, I can't support Clark anymore. She bent the knee to those woke racists and doubled down. She can enjoy her career with these anti-white straight players. Well, if you expect every single person ever to have your same exact political opinion on every single thing, I can't tell you. Probably don't watch sports, I guess. But I hear what you're saying. But Pyro Wave for 5. Hey, Ryan, how would you like my Detroit Tigers against your Cubs in the World Series this year? Detroit Tigers having a great season. So I don't care who we would play. I would love to make it to the World Series. So I'd be down. Ryan Kinnell likes the fatties for 2. Free Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown. We can talk a little bit about Antonio Brown.
Okay,
actually.
Real quick. Have you seen the Fortnite AI Vader?
I've seen a couple clips going around, yeah.
So we were playing Fortnite last night, and we got the AI Vader. So Jeremy's just completely just nerding out and fangirling over AI Vader and asking him a whole bunch of questions. And he asked him about if Vader knows Geeks and Gamers. And then he asked Vader if he knows Ryan Kinnell. So Vader was like, I don't bother watching YouTube and these Geeks and Gamers. And he's like, well, we got one of the most knowledgeable Star Wars minds at Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kinnell. And Vader's like, I'm not familiar with this Ryan Kinley.
It's fun. It's actually funny that he might not be able to say my name. So, in MLB The Show or fucking NBA 2K or whatever, right? All these different things where you can create your own character, right, and they'll announce your name and shit. My name, I can never have my last name announced ever because it doesn't register that as something it knows. There's lists of thousands of last names. Mine is never one of them. So the fact that he couldn't even say my name is pretty funny too.
Yeah, me either. Like every time I've done like a creative player in Madden, it's always player 13. Like that's what the announcers say.
It'll never just say my first name or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It's fuck. I feel left out. I don't feel represented very well. But yes, Antonio Brown. It's always interesting with Antonio Brown, whether it's something that happens on the football field or now in his post-career days, whether it's something that happens off the field. And Antonio Brown got into a lot of shit the other night. Antonio Brown jumped by multiple individuals after Miami boxing event, plans to press charges. Now, when this first came out, it was like Antonio Brown has been arrested after firing a gun, all of these things. Well, he got released shortly thereafter. Obviously, the cops did respond. Apparently, what happened based on the video is that Antonio Brown got jumped by a couple people trying to snatch his chain. Multiple people involved. He gets away from them. The thing continues to kind of escalate until eventually he pulls his gun out and fires a couple shots. Now, not at anybody, but straight in the air, which I don't know if there's going to be anything that happens to him over that, firing warning shots in the air, depending on where you are, depending if you're allowed to have, like, who fucking knows? But for right now, he's talking about pressing charges. And this is one of the things that kind of starts all this off. N-words just jumped on AB. You can kind of see right here.
What? Oh, shit. Hey, AB get the scrapping here. Oh, shit. What?
AB got the better of that altercation as he kicks the dude that's on the ground while wearing his massive chain.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Oh, at the box. Oh, 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 shit. Oh, shit.
But a lot of this stuff continued on after that. We've got a couple different angles here of all of the stuff that went down in the aftermath of this.
Who's that? Oh, sorry.
because I want to get to hearing the gunshots.
Who the fuck is that nigga, bro? Who's who?
And then obviously it's complete fucking chaos after that. But it does look like he was not the instigator, right? That obviously people tried to jump him. Now, if anything can happen from him, if he's shooting a gun in the air to clear the chaos or calm that, I don't know what might happen. But for right now, he has been released. And who knows what's going to happen in the future with this. But it's always fucking something with Antonio Brown, dude.
Well, it's a good thing this happened in Florida and not like California and New York. Or else he'd probably be in a lot more trouble.
Yeah.
Wild, man. And this was at an Aiden Ross boxing event.
I believe so, yeah. And I think it might even been somebody might have been streaming at that point. So
yeah. Well, the one looked like it was from a live stream.
That's why there's so many like random angles of it, because a lot of people were live streaming at the time. But just kind of crazy. Storm Shadow for 5. Maybe Jerry Jones was smart to overpay Dak. Reset the quarterback market. Now San Francisco ruined by overpaying Purdy. Jerry playing 4D chess, or he's senile like Biden.
I think you're overthinking it.
Yeah, I think we're overthinking that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the $60 million man, Dak Prescott, still the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, followed by Josh Allen, Joe Burrow.
Jalen Hurts, and Jordan Love.
Jordan fucking Love. God. Yeah, so Dak Prescott, 60 million. And we're talking like, now this can fluctuate, right? Because I think even like this first season, because it is a contract extension, I think this first season for Brock Purdy, it's only going to count like 8 or 10 million against the actual salary cap. But in terms of annual average value for these deals for quarterbacks that are out there, Dak Prescott at 60, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love at 55 million.
Forgot about Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor fucking Lawrence.
Yep.
Tua, 53.1 million. And then Jared Goff and Brock Purdy at 53 million. So they're tied for 7th. And then Justin Herbert at 52.5, Lamar Jackson at 52.
And Patrick Mahomes still isn't making his contract money yet. I don't believe.
Well, his obviously he signed a super like a 10-year deal or whatever, right? And I think the average value for that was around 50.
And he's making most of that money in like the last 5 years of that 10-year contract.
It's very much staggered. But the highest paid numbers is at the end. Yeah. So in actuality, even though it was huge when he signed it, the fact that 10 other quarterbacks are averaging over $50 million per year, and probably by the time we get to that point, the number that he's making is probably going to be relatively competitive with like a lot. Like there's probably going to be quarterbacks that are getting paid way more than him by that point in time.
Right.
It was a smart move from the Chiefs. Assuming nothing terrible happens to Patrick Mahomes.
Did you see that Travis Kelce showed up to Chiefs camp or whatever, like 30 pounds underweight?
Underweight?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's underweight.
Yeah.
But
30 pounds underweight. It's all that Kirk Crane that he's been doing with Taylor Swift partying.
You think so? Maybe.
You never know.
I don't know. Maybe he wants to be a little bit lighter as well. Just being honest.
Well, he was slow last year. He was slow. He did not have that like the yards after catch speed that he had in previous seasons. So maybe he does want to come in a little bit lighter.
Yeah. So who knows if that is like all strategic or not? Because he was, he lost a step. He just did.
Yes.
From what we saw last year, and he's getting old.
Yep. 35.
Yeah, that's fucking old in football, man.
It's crazy. He's the same age as Gronk, and Gronk has been retired for 4 years.
Yeah. But Travis Kelce has a lot more wear and tear on him than Gronk. Now Gronk got hurt a lot, you know. But in terms of just the daily shit, Kelsey's had a lot of wear and tear, and they've had a lot of deep playoff runs and shit like that. So not everybody's fucking Tony Gonzalez that can somehow continue to
play for 25 years.
Yeah, you play fucking tight high level until you're 40 years old.
Yeah, or Antonio Gates. That dude played forever too.
He was fucking fat those last couple of years, though.
Yeah.
Antonio Gates is one of those first guys where they're like, hey, not really a football player. He was a basketball player in college, but we think he's athletic enough that he can figure it out.
Same thing with Jimmy Graham. He was a basketball player.
Mike Hill for 5. Are you interested in seeing Nicolas Cage and Christian Bale playing John Madden and Al Davis in a movie?
They look great.
That movie looks fucking awesome.
Yes.
No lie.
It
looks great. Fucking awesome. KW for $10. I think I missed the stream after the draft. I got to hear my take on what y'all think Ward will do for the Titans. Also start planning for that meetup in Nashville. This is KW. I think that stream got taken down actually because we just showed so much of the draft thing. But which is why it's probably still live on Rumble though. I mean, Cam Ward was the guy. Now if he had come out the year before, probably would have been like maybe the 4th or 5th quarterback taken. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be like the answer in Tennessee. But he was the consensus quarterback to pick in this draft for a team that needed a quarterback. And so Titans got him. We'll see what he can do. I wish him all the best. But I don't have any very strong feelings about Cam Ward other than in general, he's the best quarterback in a very weak quarterback draft class.
Yeah, correct. And to answer your question, who was the super chat from?
KW.
To answer your question on, Cam Ward and how he's going to perform in Tennessee, you have to look at his surroundings. How's the offensive line? What do his weapons look like? Is there a good running back in the backfield to take some of the pressure off of Cam Ward? So, and when you go to the worst team in the league with the number 1 overall pick, you might struggle for a few years. So, but I hope the best for him.
And someone in the chat said no primetime games for the Titans. That is true. No, not a single primetime game for the Titans this year.
Or the Browns.
Yep. Which I think makes sense. Unfortunately, the Giants will still get shoved down our throats for some reason.
I think the Giants have 3 primetime games this year. We have 1 Sunday night, 1 Monday night, and 1 Thursday night.
Bro, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs are playing like every fucking holiday.
Yes. They play on Christmas Day again.
Yeah, and I think they're playing Thanksgiving as well. Schedule wise, that fucks you up, man. You know what I mean? The idea that you're playing on all these fucking random days. But I'm sure they'll figure a way to get through it.
And I think the Giants had like last year, they had, based off of just like the schedule, like the difficulty, they were top 3 last year in schedule difficulty. And this year, I think the Giants have the number 1 difficult schedule. Like, what the fuck is going on? The Giants fucking stink. What is Roger Goodell doing, giving the Giants the hardest strength of schedule?
Well, some of it's built in and you can't change it, right? In terms
NFC
of
East smash mouth football.
Well, because every year you're going to rotate around and you're going to play. You're of course going to play your guys, but you're also going to play an AFC division. You're also going to play an NFC division and a couple other games thrown in there. So like some of it is just set in stone and you can't really change too much. But I look at the Bears schedule and it looks like a goddamn gauntlet. Not just because obviously they're in the NFC North, but I think they're playing the AFC North. And I think they're playing. Let me see. This fucking Bears schedule, dude. Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, God, it's fucking rough.
Strength of schedule means nothing right now, Beardo. Well, yeah, I mean, it's all based off of last year's stats, right? So that's what it's based off of, going on strength of schedule, but still.
Yeah, here we go. So when I was looking at this, and I'm looking at, all right, Vikings, Lions, Cowboys, okay. Raiders, okay. Commanders, it's going to be a tough game. Fucking at Washington again, what the fuck? Did we just play there? Saints, okay, thank you. Ravens, Bengals, thank God an easy win on the schedule there. Fucking Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, thank God we play the Browns. Packers, 49ers, Lions. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. There's a couple good ones in there, but a fucking gauntlet. And
yes, I think the Giants play the Redskins week 1.
And also, our bye week is week 5. So week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right? We only have 3 home games in like a fucking 9-week period. So it's gonna be a gauntlet. But you know, got to play the hand you're dealt. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Beardo, did you catch any of the Dallas Stars game last night?
I did not. I was playing Fortnite with Jeremy.
You're playing Fortnite.
Nah.
Well, we can talk about that at least a little bit. We got to talk about it because we know we've got some big hockey fans here. I'm not a huge hockey fan, but there was an exciting finish last night as the Dallas Stars beat the top-seeded Jets to advance to the Western Conference Finals in the NHL playoffs. And in typical hockey exciting fashion, it did go to overtime, and here's your game-winning goal.
Nice.
Offers it off the chest of Hellebuck. Play to the corner by Pionk. Circling that second to Harley. Score! Series over!
That's awesome.
And that's the way it ends. Dallas wins that series in 6 games. And we've got a big game 7. When you look over here, we got a big game 7 tonight at 7:30 between the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. So that's probably going to be exciting and thrilling. We've got a game 7 in the NBA as well tonight between the Nuggets and the Thunder. So both NHL and NBA Eastern Western Conference Finals are about to be set after today. So that's going to be exciting. I'll talk a little bit more about the basketball one later on. But because this is such an exciting time, because it's such an exciting time in sports, we're talking about football, or no, we're talking about football season upcoming, but we're talking about basketball. We're talking about hockey. We're talking about baseball, even the freaking WNBA, if you really care about that. And of course, you've got a major championship final round today. We're going to be watching that. Well, at least you are over on Locals, right, Beardo?
Yeah. Over on Geeks and Gamers Locals, we'll be streaming the PGA Championship final round today. So that'll be sometime this afternoon. So, we'll be covering it.
Well, that'll be exciting. And it seems like a better time than ever to remind everybody about Prize Picks. Now, we talked about Prize Picks a lot, and there's a lot of things to choose from right now, which is fantastic. So a great time to get on board if you haven't already. But Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Like we just talked about, we're in the middle of a huge month for sports. You've got basketball playoffs. You've got hockey playoffs. You're in the big swing of things, heart of the MLB season for baseball. Even if you care about the WNBA, that started. And of course, this weekend, we've got a major championship for golf. So it's a great time to get on it. And Prize Picks is the best way to get in on the action in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I'm able to pull it right out of my account, so I have a bunch of money sitting there, which is fantastic as well. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Conference finals are about to be set for both basketball and hockey, so don't miss your chance to add your favorite players to the Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's points, rebounds, assists, take your pick of more or less to win today. And like we talked about, we've got a big Game 7 right now. They've got a promotion going on. This Nikola Jokic pick, normally, to win this, he'd have to score 30 or more points, but they've got a big discount on that right now. It's basically a free pick. for Nikola Jokic. The line is at 0.5 point. So unless something crazy happens to Nikola Jokic, that's already one of your picks that is definitely going to hit. And you look at what they're probably going to be doing without Aaron Gordon potentially in this game. A lot of guys might have to step up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has had a great series MVP candidate as well. But like I said, it's not just that. You can look at Major League Baseball. You can look at NHL for hockey because we've got a Game 7 there. Even when it comes to golf, Scotty Scheffler, more or less than 69 strokes. Bryson DeChambeau, that's gone down a little bit just since we've been talking about it. So a lot of different ways you can look at this and have fun over on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code GG to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, let me put that up on the screen so you guys can see it too. Download the app today. Use code GG to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. So if you're going to be watching sports anyway, want to make it a little more interesting and have fun, go check out Prize Picks. Big shout out to them. Over on the Rumble side, Mod Eric K for $1 will Scotty Scheffler hang on to win the PGA Championship?
We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, a 3-stroke lead heading in the final round. So he's played very consistent. I would say he's going to take it home, but anything can happen over at Quail Hollow.
That can change quick.
Anything can happen over at Quail Hollow, so you never know. Kittle 2024, third in yards and second in touchdowns for tight ends. Yeah, that was in response to you saying George Kittle fell off hard last year.
I mean, watching the games, he to me visually he didn't seem like the same player as years past. But numbers are numbers. So
I think that there was just, again, they were so inconsistent because they were rolling out different stuff, and Christian McCaffrey wasn't back there for most of the year. Brandon Ayuk wasn't out there. Deebo Samuel wasn't playing himself. So I think Kittle got forced the ball a little bit more than we'd typically seen, even if maybe it wasn't, maybe he didn't have some of the explosive plays, but I mean, obviously you do look at those numbers and they are the numbers. But I think it was just, instead of having this 3-headed monster, it was just so inconsistent at times. So, even though they did try to get him the ball a lot, defenses knew that too.
Yeah.
But I think George Kittle, if everybody comes back and everybody's healthy, I think he's going to be solid.
Absolutely.
Zenny Biscuit for $10. Journalism, who is second in the Derby, won the Preakness. Next year, Laurel Park will host the race, and Pimlico will be torn down and rebuilt. Well, Zenny Biscuit, I have been waiting for your super chat all stream long.
Thank you, Zenny Biscuit.
And you know how I can tell you that? Because I already had something pulled up that I wanted to show you guys. Because journalism did win, and it was super exciting, a super exciting finish. So I was waiting for this opportunity so we can, one, give Zenny Biscuit her credit because she's always talking about horse racing and always keeping us updated. And we can actually see the finish. So yes, journalism, second in the Derby. The Derby winner did not compete at the Preakness, which is becoming far too often the case for one reason or another. But look at the way that this ends, Beardo. Because journalism was having a hard time trying to find some space to get through. Did not look like it was going to happen. But watch this.
Journalism is getting closer now. He's behind a wall.
So journalism's right here.
In the pink?
I don't know if I would consider pink, but yeah, red-ish.
Reddish.
Pinkish. Yeah.
Okay.
Gets kind of slammed between two as you have another horse taken off here. Watch this finish.
Of horses, he's looking for a place to go, and he's got nowhere to go. Oh, he bumped hard with Goal-Oriented. In the meanwhile, Gonskir's running the race of his life.
I mean, he's got a sizable lead coming up towards the finish here, no doubt. I'm positive for copyright too.
And Sandman has entered the scene, and he has moved up on the far outside. Journalism is still running on. He's back into second. He might even win it. Here's the wire. Oh my goodness. Journalism.
Wow.
Just a crazy finish there at the end.
Wow.
That's by about half a length. So
now, do they have horse racing on Prize Picks?
I don't know. So Prize Picks again is daily fantasy. I don't know if there's any daily fantasy out there for horses. I'm not sure. I
Okay.
can check it out though, actually. Let's see, because I've got it right there. Let's see. WNBA soccer. We've got esports, even darts and tennis.
Do they have cornhole?
I don't know if they have cornhole. See, here's esports, Call of Duty, CS2, cricket, table tennis, darts, regular tennis. Now, those are just the popular ones. There's obviously a lot more stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
A lot of options.
Look at this. They've even got just specific like hole stats for these guys. So you can have a lot of fun with the golf on there.
Yeah. I'd be curious if around on the 4th of July if they have some hot dog eating contest. Little picks on there.
Maybe. That might be something. Potentially.
I love the hot dog eating contest on 4th of July. That's
Joey
a tradition
fucking
for me.
Chestnut.
He didn't compete last year because he got sponsored by a imitation hot dog company, and they wouldn't let him compete in the Nathans. What a shame.
Didn't they do a special thing with him and the fucking Japanese dude?
I think
who was
so.
like cool for 1 year until Joey Chestnut came on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Getz Gaming. Happy to see Boston go down. Physical Eastern Conference Finals incoming. Yeah, I mean, I think very physical from the New York Knicks perspective. Indiana, when everything is on fire in terms of like they can go off on offense, I think it's gonna be to me, obviously maybe some of the big names not involved, and Boston defending champions. Jason Tatum goes down and gets injured. Apparently Brown has a meniscus tear too. I don't fucking know. But we'll see. And then John Gets Gaming. Chuck and Shaq dominated while being fat asses. Quit the roids and learn some fundamentals. Makes for far more interesting, varied play styles too.
I wouldn't be surprised if Shaq was on the TRT back in the day.
Well, so first of all, Charles Barkley didn't dominate when he was a fat ass, right? He dominated when he was in really good shape. Now, he let himself go a little bit later on, late in his career. But when it comes to Shaq would come in even into the season and be over where he should be. And then throughout the season, get in better shape. You know what I mean? But you also can't not go back and look in these same eras when these guys are playing and look at other dudes that were in fucking incredible physical condition as well. So you can always find a handful of guys who Prince Fielder. Remember Prince Fielder?
Yep.
Prince Fielder, one of the biggest fat pieces of shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. Embarrassing to see that fat boy running around. Who is that? That stupid third Pablo Sandoval? The panda.
Yep.
Fat piece of shit.
Bartolo Colon, CC Sabathia. A lot of fatties.
Yeah. Mike Hill for 5. Phillies reliever banned 80 games for testing positives for PEDs.
There you go.
Who was it? Other than just Phillies reliever. Jose Alvarado. Suspended 80 games. Let me actually look. If it'll actually pop up, I'll wait for that to load. We said that one. Charles Barkley. Knicks are going to beat the refs and the Pacers. Knicks tape. We'll see, Charles. I think it's going to be exciting either way. See those Rigas run. Go Yankees, go Panthers.
What's up, Cole Hauser?
Peter refuses to say Knickerbocker. Ryan, I read the Bears are moving to Arlington Heights and getting a new $4.2 billion stadium. Have you seen that? I have, that they're focused on that one moving forward. And I feel like it's a gigantic mistake. And maybe that's just nostalgia for Soldier Field talking, but I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. Wu-Tang Dan for 199. Let's fucking go Nuggets. Fuck OKC. Fuck the refs. SGA is the new James Harden. Well, look, That is happening today in just a couple hours. And I do want to go. We talked about the NHL playoffs because I knew so many of you would fucking bitch and moan if we didn't mention it. And obviously, big story right now. But we can also talk about what's going on in the NBA. Like I said, Pacers, Knicks, 3 and 4 seed in the Eastern Conference Finals, kind of a throwback Eastern Conference Finals. It is not yet set in the West, but Nuggets, who have been the best team in basketball, well, them and the Cavs have been the best teams in basketball all year long, with the suspected MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going up against a former and multiple-time MVP winner, Nikola Jokic, and the former champion Denver Nuggets, who fired their head coach like 3 games before the playoffs, by the way.
Crazy.
That's what the Denver Nuggets have done. And they're still in this thing. This has been a phenomenal series. Very back and forth. Aaron Gordon hitting some big, huge shots for the Denver Nuggets at times in this game. And unfortunately for them, in game 6, it did look like he tweaked his hamstring. That has apparently now been diagnosed as a grade 2. And I don't think he's playing in this game. He was officially questionable as of earlier. I can't imagine with a grade 2 hamstring strain, you're playing through that. And that's big for them. He's been a huge important piece of the puzzle this year, vastly improved. He's averaging like 17 and 7, very physical on the boards for them as well, and hitting some big time shots. And that's the story of this NBA playoffs in a lot of ways. We look at this Timberwolves Warriors series, and Steph Curry in fucking game 1 goes down with that hamstring injury and was not able to play the rest of the series. And that sucks because this is a much different series of Steph Curry plays. But Timberwolves get the winner of this game. That's happened at 3:30 Eastern, and I hope it's a good game. It's been a great series. We'll see what happens. But Jokic is going to have to put on a superhero cape again. And I just don't know. Steph Curry sat out like a cuck. He fucking pulled his hamstring. What do you fucking mean? What's he supposed to do if he can't run on the court? And specifically for a player like Steph Curry, who runs more than basically any other NBA player. When you look at what he does, not only with the ball in his hands, but also off the ball to get open, he's constantly running around, and they just can't. I hear some people saying Aaron Gordon's officially out. That may have come down in the last hour since we've been streaming. Like I said, there's no fucking way in my mind. I couldn't imagine a case where he does play after he gets diagnosed as a grade 2. But let me check. See if I can see sources. Nuggets. Gordon has grade 2 strain. Here it is. Yeah, I do think he's probably going to be out. So, but we'll see. NBA Finals ratings for this year, another declining once again since 2020 bubble BS. Yes, Alan Fernando Gamino, I saw you fucking bitching and moaning like you always do that we ever talk about any other sport that you don't fucking like. And here's the thing. NBA ratings have been down for years and years and years. There's no doubt. And even this season, I think is about 2% down. The NBA playoff ratings have actually been like their highest in 15 years. So when you do look at those things, it's also important to note when those things happen. And the first round was the biggest NBA ratings first round in like 15 years. Maybe a lot of that was people happy that LeBron fucking lost once again, because that's entertaining. But you just gotta put it out there. All right. The horror host. Big weekend in racing next weekend with the Monaco Grand Prix, Coca-Cola 600, Indianapolis 500, all on the 25th. Why are all those races on the same fucking day? I mean, obviously we know Indy 500 is always going to be there, but I guess the Coca-Cola 600 always is there too, but the Monaco Grand Prix is on the same day. Not a big racing guy. I'll turn on the Indy 500 for like a couple seconds. Donald Trump is going to have a horse to compete with journalism. It will be named Fake News. Waka waka. Have a good one, fellas.
Nice.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I did want to bring up, this happened a couple days ago, but I still think it's relevant. If I can find out where the fuck I put this. The Pete Rose story.
Yes. Yes. And we called this too. We knew this was going to happen. As soon as he passed away, we knew this was going to happen.
Well, let's not forget that you are the person that killed Pete Rose.
Allegedly.
Like, for no reason whatsoever, you randomly bring him up on stream and he dies like 24 hours later.
It wasn't for no reason. We had Jeremy on here, the one time Jeremy's been on the show in 2 years, talking about the greatest baseball players of all time, and he swears that is Barry Bonds, and I had to defend Pete Rose, and I said, Pete Rose is the best baseball player of all time. And no joke, like 12 hours later, Pete Rose passes away.
Yeah, so this is a big news that came out several days ago. But baseball fans celebrate after MLB lifts Hall of Fame ban on Pete Rose. Now, Shoeless Joe Jackson also involved in this big official lifting of the ban. A lot of people are going to celebrate, but I think we should also put out there that Rob Manfred doesn't control who goes in the Hall of Fame. So he can lift a ban.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that Pete Rose goes into the Hall of Fame. That's the Baseball Writers Association.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that's going to go.
Right.
I do not know how that's going to go, because as we've seen before, whether it's players that are associated with steroid use that people think deserve to be in regardless, no matter what, the Baseball Writers Association keeps them out. I don't know what this group of people are going to make a decision to in regards to Pete Rose. But he is eligible now for the first time, which is a huge deal. And I think Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, just like I think a lot of the players who are linked to PED use over the last several decades also deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep. Pete Rose absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So does Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire. But it is criminal that, and even Manfred said it, that upon their death, their lifetime ban is over,
which is wild.
Go fuck yourself. That is horrible. Pete Rose should have been
we gave you a lifetime ban. We meant for fucking your life.
Yeah, for your life. Now that you're dead, you're eligible. That is horrible, dude. Pete Rose should have been a Hall of Famer 20 years ago. It's insane. But hopefully he gets in. Hopefully he gets in. But it's just criminal that if and when he does get into the Hall of Fame, he's not alive to celebrate it, man. It's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, he broke the rules, obviously, multiple times. And then I think part of this too, again, is that he lied about it. And he lied about it, and he lied about it, and he lied about it, and he lied about it. And he only came clean about it when he was trying to sell a book. And the Baseball Writers Association are some fucking fickle people. So I know people are celebrating it, but it's not an announcement that he's in the Hall of Fame. It's just an announcement that he is now eligible to potentially be there. And with everything we've seen from these guys, and I disagree with a lot of things the writers have done, I think it's far from a guarantee that he'll get in. So we'll see. We'll see. Game on. Sports news and picks. What's up, Will? Says, y'all see the two new weapons the Chiefs got Mahomes this offseason? Beardo was showing them to me before the stream started.
Yes, I did see. Yeah,
Brittany Mahomes looks like she got some big old titties.
Brittany Mahomes got a big old boob job.
Look, I said this to you before too. There was talk of her potentially getting breast augmentation surgery and shit like last year and the year before. Like those things have been out there. The picture you showed me, she looks a little heavier than I've seen her as well. So maybe she's fucking pregnant.
I think they just had a kid, so maybe she's shedding some baby weight. I don't know, but
big old titties, man. The mom titties.
Maybe she, maybe she's got those mommy titties, or she got a mommy makeover. Maybe she told Patrick Mahomes, "Hey, I'm done having kids. I want my mommy makeover, and I want some big old titties. Get that tummy tuck and some tits." But she's looking good, and I am not a Brittany Mahomes fan. I think that she is
So I could. She just had a third kid. That's what
Yeah.
I think, man. I like
Those things are bolted on.
that's your official prognosis.
I think she got a boob job.
Show the picture.
Oh fuck! I have to look it up again.
Is that the old? We don't have anything else. We just have that picture. That's the only thing.
That's the one that I seen. That's the one that's going viral. And there's also, of course, Dove Kleiman posted one as well. So here's the picture. Those things look fresh. And here's the one from Dove with a comparison. This seems to be at a music festival. She's got some itty bitties right here, some mosquito bites. And then recently, I mean, come on. That's Ryan. Check this out. This ain't from going from this to this isn't from breastfeeding.
Well, is it? But this is. I have a picture of her from. I don't know when this is from. Like this is
That's
a
from
picture of
Sports
her.
Illustrated.
This obviously isn't like from right now, but like this is from March 29th of 2025 when this got posted by this person who's just like posting hot pictures of her. So
she was in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit last year.
Right. So I don't know. It's not like those are tiny or anything.
But those are fake.
Potentially, yes. But they look
100%.
different than how she looks right now.
Yeah, I think she got another enhancement.
Another one, huh?
Another one.
That's your story and you're sticking to it?
Dude, that's how it goes with people who get plastic surgery. They just keep doing it. It's like tattoos. When people get tattoos, they just keep getting more and more and more. When chicks get plastic surgery, when they get their lips done, they always go bigger. They get a facelift. They get the big tits or they get the BBL. They can't stop, man. They just keep going. I think this is another one.
My thing with her right here is like 100% I think she could have had one in the past. I don't know if it's recent, but it looks like she's a little heavier than we're used to seeing her. Which I think obviously could be a cause too. So if we're saying that she got it done, I think she got it done a while ago. Not like this just happened. I think she just looks heavy here.
Well, I agree to disagree. I think she just got those puppies done. And
you think
she's out
just
there.
happened?
And I think that they're healed now. She can go out and show them off. Yeah. She had that. She popped out that third kid. She's like, all right, I'm done. Patrick, I'm done having kids. I want my massive boob job. I think that's what happened.
Maybe it'll be in the next Netflix season of Quarterback or whatever the fuck they do.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Taker, if Shea wins MVP, he'll continue the MVP winning streak of foreign-born players that started with Antetokounmpo in 2019, then Jokic and Embiid. Yes, basketball is a global sport now. Doncic, obviously, up there for consideration multiple years in the past couple of years as well. So, if your lifetime ban is over when you're dead, then Shoeless Joe Jackson died this year too. No, but he basically lifted the bans for a bunch of people. The two that we, of course, are the biggest ones are Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson.
And those were both for betting.
And that was his reasoning for the ruling. He says, well, the reason we're lifting these things is and that's the reason he used. It should just go the course of your life and not after. Which is really such a fucking bitter. Like, when you think about that in reality, what we're saying is that this punishment, look, we're fine with eventually letting you in the Hall of Fame, but we don't want you to fucking see it happen. Like, we want to take that away from you. We want to make sure you're dead and buried when we decide to put you in there, which is really a fucking nasty thing.
Yeah.
But obviously these are punishments. Like, is what it is.
Yep.
Enrico Palazzo. You have to be a 5-tool player to be the best. Ever heard of Willie Mays? Willie Mays is one of the best to ever fucking do it. Ain't no doubt. Shout out to my man Enrico Palazzo.
Yep, shout out.
Into Willie Mays. But Enrico's the reason I've actually got some hockey stuff up here now. So shout out to Enrico.
Oh, this one's more blown up. This is a closer image of same image, but just a little bit more zoomed in. Oh yeah, those things are bolted on. Those things are meant for speed.
They look big.
Yeah.
They look big. All right, where are we? Okay, I think we're caught up there and we're caught up here. And I think that's it for us. We went a full hour and a half today, Beardo. We talked about
Hell yeah, man. Yep. Great show.
We talked about a lot. But when can people join you over on Locals today?
I got to figure it out. You said you think that it'll
Scotty's
be
probably not teeing off until 2 or 2:30 or something.
2 or 3.
The broadcast may start a little earlier than that, but I'm not sure.
That'll be sometime this afternoon, coming up soon. So just if you're on Locals, on Geeks and Gamers Locals, just keep an eye out for that notification for the live stream. It'll be sometime here in the next couple hours.
Let's see. I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, Scotty Scheffler tees off at 2:40. So
2:40. Okay, so we'll start at like 2:30.
2:30 and watch all 5.5 hours of his round.
Got to do it.
All right. Great boobs turn gay to straight. Look at Beardo.
It's a miracle.
There you go. And shout out to the Rumble audience for watching as well. For people over here on YouTube. And shout out to Prize Picks once again. Go check them out. If you're looking to have a little bit of fun today for whatever you're watching. And that's going to be it. We appreciate you guys being here. We'll be back next week. Bye, everybody.
Later.